It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back and happy Hot Messy Topics Monday. All right, guys. Well, I wanted to start off by saying, man, what a weird week, right? Crazy. We've been here and it's been such a wild week with family and everything in between, but also like with everyone messaging about Pops. You guys are the best. I don't know how else to say that. Pops like loved the YouTube community, so that's probably the best way to put it. Let's welcome Jason. Hi.
Don't put me on the spot like that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. It's definitely been a week, but you know, Pops loved the YouTube community so much, and you can always go back and watch him on YouTube and see all the stuff he loved to talk about.
Yeah. And on top of that too, because sorry, and I know that we're filming this for the podcast too, and I'm like clearing my throat. I apologize, guys.
You're good.
I think that also Pops was like, thank God, man, I got through the Scandoval of it all, right? Like the third part of the reunion. So that was probably the best part of it, was just getting through all of that, because that's something that I knew that he wanted to see so bad and just see what the fuck was going to happen, right?
You know, I do have to say that Pops loved Lala for many reasons. Not technically to do with the show, but he loved Lala, and he was a very special man. There's no good way of and right way of mourning someone and thinking about them, you know? So
yeah. But also, you know what? One of the funniest things is, guys, especially with this wasn't supposed to be sad, and I apologize. I think the funnest part was even in the moments that like getting to the point where we obviously nobody, it's like you say you see this coming, but you really don't. And you say that you're like getting prepared, but you always get prepared. You just don't know. And like for Pops, I think one of the most grateful things that we feel for all of this was that this was something where he wasn't in pain. So talking about this, you know, right when Jason and I got back from our trip from the Bahamas, we hadn't been around everybody in a while because we've been dealing with a lot, and Jason was sick and I was sick, and it just like one thing after another. But one of the fun things was that we would always go over there and just talk shit with Pops about 90 Day Fiance and Bravo. So we were just over there this weekend, and I think that it would have been so much fun to talk to him about the stuff that was going on for Vanderpump Rules and all of that. So instead, we'll do it on here. Murray, thank you so much for the super chat. Hugs, Adam and Jason. Also, thank you so much for the super sticker. We appreciate you. Jason, let's turn this from negative into like a not so somber positive.
Well, I think you missed, and I think, you know, we both missed like being here. You know, obviously we didn't do any lives last week or anything like that. So, yeah, where do we start? Because this is what Adam does to me sometimes. He'll like, okay, so we'll make a thumbnail and we have an idea of what we're going to talk about. Then Adam will switch it up on me while we're live. So Adam, where do we start?
I think probably with Vanderpump Rules.
Gosh, it's the gift that like keeps on giving after we've like already put a stop to our monthly subscription. You know what I mean? Like we keep getting it and it's like we canceled this. We're good. But yeah, go ahead. You can start us off.
Shaby, I agree. Let's see Adam get messy. Okay. All right, guys. I'm covering my face now. Okay. Here we go. All right. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit because we have something that came out on All About the Real Housewives, and we have to get to the bottom of this Vanderpump Rules drama. Now, one of the things that Tom Girardi and all of this, like what happened with the Girardis and Erica and Lisa Rinna and just all of this. When the Girardi news came out, it seemed like Lisa Rinna and Erica Girardi really defended each other, which, of course, right? They were best friends, and Lisa Rinna didn't have a dog in this fight. But when she did, Ronald Richards had no problem pointing out the extra mortgages that they had taken out on their home. Well, now, of course, so many people are wondering what's going on with the closure of Pump, and then also Lisa and Vanderpump Rules, and going over to Las Vegas and opening up new restaurants. So this came out, and this was interesting to me.
And me too.
Okay, so according to the US Sun, Lisa and Ken took out a loan, and this is after they bought their home. They bought their home for $11 million in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
According to the US Sun, they took out a loan for $6.225 million in August of 2015. And then in 2017, they took out another loan of $6.3 million. And then in 2019, they took out another loan for $6.35 million. Now, this means that they've taken out a total of $18.925 million in loans against their Villa Rosa property, which is $7 million more than what they paid for the property in 2011. And now people feel like they might potentially be struggling or trying to figure out what do they do next. However, I didn't look at this like that kind of problem. I feel like they took out money on the property to improve the property. And it's not like they're in debt on the property, because I feel like they can turn around and flip the property for way over $20 million. But that's where I wanted to pick your brain.
100%. So if you look at the pictures, they're available online. I'm not going to say addresses or anything. All you got to do is look it up. Of when they bought it for I want to say it was close to 12 million.
Yeah.
And you look at what it looked like before, it was still nice. It was very maybe like hotel chic, like London early 2000s kind of like look to it. And then they turned it into Villa Rosa, right? They had the moat. They had everything, all the interiors, the kitchen renovation, all the Vanderpump Lane stuff that's popped up. They redid the pool. Like, of course, they're going to put money into it. Lisa and Ken, from my experience, are people who don't like to spend their own money if they don't have to. So if they can make adjustments and then sell the house for more than it is, it could be very, very true that they're getting ready to unload Villa Rosa.
Right. Well, and
now,
they were saying too, because it came out from a Ryan Bailey So Bad It's Good with Ryan podcast, and he was the one who was addressing this, which I thought was interesting, because we love Ryan over here, right? And
yeah, he's great. I love watching Ryan.
The speculation came from him explaining, Lisa seems to always be there in Vegas. She's hinted at opening up another place in Vegas, and she let the lease go for Pump. Pump is done. Now, all of these things are true. She is opening 2 more restaurants in Vegas. The lease is done for Pump. Okay. He continues with, from all things I've been thrown, that Villa Rosa has been sold off market. So why would she be selling her house and selling Pump? There's a little bit of play in this for me. They are getting older. Vegas is this huge opportunity. 3 restaurants already potentially out there. Could they be splitting from Beverly Hills? I think that it's something that, what's so great about this is that Ryan has so much respect in the industry and in this community for people to be entertaining what he's saying as like, this could potentially be true. Do I think it's true? I mean, Jason's been speculating this for over a year.
I want to even say we talked about this at BravoCon with him. Like I've really been thinking that it's just time to exit. You know what I mean? I really think it's time for her to exit Vanderpump Rules and just, leave the name on it and do another show with in Vegas. But I don't know if she would want to do another show. But yes, with the announcement of, Vanderpump Villa and the announcement of the Lake Tahoe restaurant called Wolf, the renderings look amazing, with Caesars Entertainment plus 2 more in Vegas. So the Wolf one in Lake Tahoe is not part of that 2 more in Vegas. So we found out. So there's still a lot going on. This is a great opportunity. Also, like, move the business to Nevada and save on some taxes. But
yeah. I mean, honestly, right? No state taxes, right? See, and that's a lot of money.
To have a business. It's a lot of money.
All right, Debbie Garcia, thank you so much. We love y'all. Sending hugs. Nancy A.
Thank you.
Sandoval demands that Ariana not film in their house. What nerve he has. He's so envious of her success. Yeah, no, I think that's also, we'll get to that in a second too. DF, also thank you for the super sticker. For this, I don't find it to be completely off, especially with what Ryan Bailey's saying. I think he might be onto something. And Jason's been saying this again for over a year. And I've been telling Jason, you're crazy. She's not leaving LA. But think about if you sold your home for $20 million in Beverly Hills, what you could buy in Vegas, it would be a fucking compound.
Well, I think, when we have spoken to Lisa in the past, okay, and we've said this before, she wants to get back to a place of, even Pandora has said, like, she would love to see her mom back in the south of France. They really want to get back to the south of France and kind of chill out. It's called retirement, guys. Like, it happens. And, Lisa is a grandmother. She probably wants to spend more time with her family and her other business ventures. I think that Vanderpump Villa is a way to kind of get situated. Here's the thing. I think they're so smart with everything. I think they're literally doing this new show to get over to France and to test the waters. And I think she might be splitting her time between the south of France and Vegas. It's all speculation, but it's just things we've seen coming for a long time.
Right. They've been saying this for a long time.
Yeah.
Deborah Artist said taxes are so high in LA, it makes sense to leave and find
they're ridiculous.
Pastures. And T Talk with Shaw said, I moved to a lower tax state and we are loving it.
Same. I can't. As a business owner, and we own 2 businesses, and the amount of tax is crazy. Just like everyone was talking about their financial issues with Pump closing. There's no financial issues. They don't put their money into things that are temporary, like a restaurant. Pump lasted a lot longer than it was supposed to, or a lot longer than they thought it would. And also having a restaurant that runs almost a decade in LA is remarkable. But when landlords get very greedy. There are 2 guys who own most of Santa Monica Boulevard, right there by Robertson and San Vicente. 2 people own almost all the restaurants and clubs, the land that they sit on. So it's messy, especially, the Olympics are coming to LA. People, it is a hot spot. That corner where Pump was, I am so sure they wanted to raise the price on that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, Jason, on top of that, there's more.
Is it still Vanderpump?
It's always still Vanderpump. What state do you guys live in now? We live in Florida.
Currently, but I don't know how long we're staying.
I mean, yeah, really. All right. I wanted to show you guys some more things really quick. Hold on. Let me just bring them up on the Instagram. One is this.
Oh, gosh.
Tom Sandoval ended up answering for his t-shirt comment that he made about Ariana. Here we go.
As far as the t-shirt comment, you're getting a lot of hate for it. Do people take it out of context?
Yeah, they did.
Or is that what you really meant?
That is, I've never body shamed Ariana. Ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was just taken out of context.
It was not. No. I don't know if that was taken out of context. I think people added their own context to it.
Okay. So
it had nothing to do with her body or anything. It had to do with somebody being very just unenthusiastic.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Unenthusiastic.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody wanted to have sex with me and I just unzipped my zipper and said oh, hurry up, I gotta meet somebody for lunch.
Yeah.
It was more about the
fuck.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. As far as the t-shirt comment, you're getting a lot of hate.
You're muted.
Thank you. Nancy, Sandoval demands that Ariana not film in their house. What nerve he has. He's so envious of her success. Well, that also came out too.
Well, it's like he's sitting there making an excuse for what he said. That wasn't the point. The point is what you said was just not great. He's like, taking up context. It's like if I undid my zipper, it's like excuse. Always an excuse from Tom Sandoval.
Yeah, always an excuse from Tom Sandoval. All right. Thank you so much, Nancy. Also, Big Apple Girl. Sandoval lied to TMZ when he said Schwartz was only taking a break from Scandoval, not Sandoval. Cue to 3640 of Schwartz on When Reality Hits with Jax and Brittany. Okay.
So who have the #1 podcast, by the way.
Yeah. Is Tom Sandoval jealous of Ariana Madix's brand deal? Subject, worm with the mustache, sent via form submission from Dumois. So apparently Tom Sandoval is still throwing a temper tantrum over everything that Ariana is doing and all of the support that she is getting. Latest tea is that after her Duracell commercial, he is not wanting her to film in the house anymore for any of her commercial deals that she signed on for. He can her best friend in their house, but demands that she doesn't film in a house that is half hers. This man is bitter and unsufferable.
Oh,
I mean, what do you say to
what
that?
do you say? I don't know. There's nothing to say.
Oh, well, it keeps going. So on top of this, Jax Taylor is saying, I watched the reunion. Now, this is what I don't get. Jax Taylor, Kristen Doty. Kristen Doty came back. Nobody thought she would have came back, just for the same reason that nobody thought that Stassi Schroeder would have been back. It was because you were canceled, right? Like nobody was anticipating a comeback, especially like a mediocre small one like they did with Kristen Doty, which was like probably as eventful as this big reveal after the third part of the reunion, right? It's like it's something that it was unnecessary. We didn't need, there was so much drama already. And for this, Jax Taylor, he's been in talks. They have promoted him on Peacock with this Watch What series. They had him on Watch What Happens Live to promote his podcast. And now he's saying that Lisa Vanderpump is nothing more than a prop on the show. That before it made sense for her to be on the show. But now it doesn't make sense because, well, it seems like she's just there to watch, spectate, and collect a check. Now, I did a poll asking you guys if you agree with Jax Taylor, and the funny thing was most people did.
I mean, I agree with it. I think it's smart as hell. What are you talking about?
Wait, but do you question with him why is she on the show at this point?
Who? With why Lisa is there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said this when we covered, I think it was the last after party we did for Vanderpump Rules. I feel my thoughts were that she just appears a little done. Not herself, but with the show. And it's really hard to fit her in. You know, it's really hard to, with everything going on, especially Scandoval, you know, they're at a point in their lives, right, where they have kids, they're making their own decisions. They don't need the motherly guidance of Lisa anymore. They don't really work for her at her restaurant anymore. But so it's very different. The show has become something different. You
know what's kind of funny is the hypocrisy of like, people tell Scheana it's not her show, even though Scheana was the catalyst in the segue from Beverly Hills to Vanderpump Rules. But then also, like, could you give the same? Could you say it's okay? Thank you, Lisa. Like, because Jax is saying, yeah, sure, you gave us a show. We had to make it successful. So,
well, I mean, like you said, Scheana was the catalyst in the beginning of why Vanderpump Rules started and was able to transition from, you know, Beverly Hills into Lisa having this other show. But Scheana can't carry the show by herself. You know, there many people throughout the history of Vanderpump Rules, the 10 seasons we've had, have carried different seasons for various things. You know, Jax stealing in Hawaii, Miami Girl, Stassi and Kristen, and, you know, like it's just the Witches of WeHo. Everyone had a purpose, but now it's like redefining itself, and it's redefining itself, unfortunately, really not with Lisa, but I don't feel like she cares. Like, leave my name on the show. I have other things going on. You know, I don't think it's such a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Jax. It's not just working in a restaurant. That wasn't the point of it. You know, we don't need to see like the orders come in and the food runners run to the table. And we don't need to see that because we're here for what it is actually about, which is the drama, which has carried the show through.
Well, what are your thoughts about Tom Schwartz going on Jax and Brittany's podcast and Tom Schwartz addressing his relationship with Tom Sandoval, saying at this point that he sees that now he's heard Ariana's side. He feels like he was gaslit, and he's also going to be taking a step back away from Tom.
That would be a very good idea, I think, at this point. But unfortunately, just like Lisa would probably love to take a step back from everything, you're business partners. You run a business, you know, and it's not just one person on it. It's not just Schwartz's. It's not just Sandy's. It's Schwartz and Sandy's. So they have to communicate. This is where it becomes sticky. Never get in business with your friends. You know?
Right. No. I totally get that. But then also, Tom Sandoval was trying to double down to TMZ saying, well, no, he's cleared this up 5 times. He didn't say that he was done with Sandoval. He said he was done with Scandoval.
Aren't we all? But yes, no matter what you said, we're offering some advice. I would say to take a step back from Sandoval as well.
Yeah. And even Scheana said in a recent podcast, too, that she was equally as disappointed. So one of the things that I find so interesting is that so many fans are on Twitter and getting upset with the cast as if, like, the cast knew what the big reveal was. I can say really quick, the cast did not know until last minute, except for Raquel. And I'm sure Tom Sandoval, because I'm sure Raquel and Tom talked. They did not know what was going to happen until last minute. All they said to date, until this all came out, was, we don't think it's as eventful as Bravo is making it to be. And they were right. They were right.
I mean, and isn't it always like that? I said it's always when you have those big promises and we get this under-delivered, you know, like they never deliver in these big moments, right?
No.
And I think that we didn't need the big promise. I don't think we needed the whole like shtick of like, oh, I would wait to sign your contract to see the last 5 minutes of things we've already been talking about for months at this point.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. So at this point, are you just like done
With
Scandoval?
I think, you know, what I'm more interested in is how season 11 is going to move forward. How is, you know, what are we going to be watching for at this point, right? Because remember the scene at Sir where Lisa was cheersing everyone and she was like, I hope you guys in your life find something. I don't know. She was giving some, you know, speech. And that was supposed to be the last scene of Vanderpump Rules. You
Right.
know, that was supposed to be it. So now how do we move forward? Now, what we're going to be watching is Tom and Raquel trying to somehow weasel their way back in the group. I'm guessing, you know, like I'm not really sure how you move forward here. Like, I don't know. Originally, when this whole Scandoval broke, I said, man, they just bought like 2-3 more seasons. And now I'm like wondering how season 11 would be put together.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
You know,
love you guys. Sending hugs. Thank you, Robin Crawford.
thanks, Robin.
All right, Jason, I think that we covered enough Vanderpump Rules. Is it
I think so
time
too.
for me to take you down the Jersey Turnpike?
Oh, not again. If there's anything I don't want to talk about anymore, it's definitely Scandoval and it's definitely Jersey, especially if it comes to the 2 Jersey women who I think you're going to bring up.
Yeah. You know, this is a show too that even because we were talking about Pops earlier, Pops always said too, which is so funny, guys, if you knew the backstory of what's going on in the family right now. Pops was like, I don't get why they're all fighting. This is crazy. Why are the brothers and sisters fighting? And like the parents would have never wanted this. And if you guys only knew what was going on the other side of this curtain, you'd be like, fuck, Pops, you did not think that this was going to bleed into the rest of shit. Bravo has just now become reality. No pun intended. Or maybe it was. But let's get into it really quick.
Here we go.
So, Teresa Giudice, she's now... Okay, so this is interesting, Jason, because Teresa... Now there's a new report that's coming out claiming that Teresa's marriage is completely in shambles, that it's done. Finito. That, I mean, there are so many red flags. I'm trying to get through this. This is kind of a tough one. They're saying that there are so many red flags right now with Teresa and her marriage that she is now trying to figure out, okay, well, shit, I married this guy. I thought this guy was great. Now I'm looking at it and I see my family's not talking with me. Some of my friends are not talking with me. My cast does not want to film with me. The network is pulling me aside saying that they won't film with Louis. All right. Well, then a new thing came out. Wait for it.
Another one. That's all I can think of is DJ Khaled.
So another one.
Another one.
Claiming that they went through the tax documents of the purchase of the home for Teresa and Louis. And Teresa got no prenup and allowed Louis with their joint money to buy the house under an LLC under his name as the sole proprietor.
Ooh, that's a real estate no. That's like real estate 101, friend. We know we do real estate all the time. Like that's not good.
Do you know if Jason and I ever got a divorce tomorrow, it's so clear and definitive where like Jason and I and people, and we got so bashed at the beginning when we were talking about this on YouTube and people
I know
messaging us and saying like, Adam, Jason, a prenup is just an excuse to exit early and this. It was so interesting to see. And for Jason and I, all we were really doing was making sure that we avoided everything that we've seen from friends and family in the past, right? So we made sure like if Jason and I get a divorce, Jason has a home, I have a roof over my head, Jason can pay his bills, I can pay my bills. That's the whole point of a prenup. It doesn't have to be viewed as like, oh, well, this is the end all be all. No, it's just to protect yourself. And for him to be able to put the home under an LLC as with him as the sole proprietor and have her put money into the LLC under a business that's only under his name. And then also use money to alter the home to make improvements, hundreds of thousands of dollars, still under the LLC that belongs to Louis Ruelas and not Teresa. That's a big deal.
Yeah, no, 100%. Someone asked too, why would you put your home under a business? There's so many reasons to do that.
There's a lot of
you
reasons.
know, if it's an investment property, privacy, the Kardashians all have their homes in different various businesses, so you can never find them. But yeah, it's gosh, I mean, that is just, you're sitting there waiting for the train to like run out of tracks and fall off the cliff. Right? Like, that's just what it sounds like. It's like, you know, Louis likes to present himself as this like really great speaker. I mean, you watch their Instagram stories lately, they're at like speaking events and all this stuff. Like, he's a great speaker and businessman, entrepreneur. But then you're like thinking there are so many shady red flags happening. And then it's like, at what point, Teresa, do you actually listen to somebody? You know, like somebody tell you something.
Right.
You know, because she's got to protect herself too.
Well, and then, you know, Melissa Gorga recently came out and she talked about this on her On Display podcast of when Joe Gorga came up with the idea for the No-No's pizza ovens. Well, Joe had this idea, but Joe felt like he had a certain celebrity attached to him that he didn't have to put any money into the idea. So originally, Louis invested into this idea that Joe wanted to do with Louis. Louis said, why don't you do it with your sister? She could use the money. Okay. So Joe ended up doing it with his sister, right? And with his sister, Teresa was splitting it with Louis. Since Louis put in the $100,000, that's why they offered Joe the 5%. Now, what happened was, they didn't realize their discrepancy. They're trying to figure this out. They ended up ordering $100,000 worth of ovens and never contacted, this is the Gorga side of the story, never contacted the Gorgas to put any money into the ovens. So Melissa is sitting there getting glammed up for an event. And while she's getting glammed up, all of a sudden, one of the glam people say to Melissa, hey, oh my God, girl, I was just in the neighborhood. I was just at Teresa's house the other day. I had to do her makeup for a photo shoot. She was doing a pizza oven photo shoot. And Melissa was like, what? What? And she's like, yeah, girl, she was doing a pizza oven photo shoot. So Melissa goes home and tells Joe what's going on. Joe obviously flips his dick. Then they have a conversation and Teresa was like, I was only doing what Louis told me to do. And then I thought, in listening to that moment, that is the same thing that you said when you were in court in front of a judge, when you had to go spend 11 plus months behind prison bars and lose time with your mother, your father, and your kids. You did what a good Italian wife does. You listened to your husband. But look where it got you last time. And I understand. I get the general like behind it, like what she's saying. This is what we do. This is tradition. This is family. This is like, you want to be in a marriage where you trust. Like, you've handed me things before, Jason, that now looking back, as dumb as it sounds, I've signed them. You know, like, would I ever?
No, I'm just kidding.
Would I ever think that you actually handed me our prenup and said, this gives me everything. You need to look at this again and sign it, right? Did you not?
Yeah. Okay. So there was a mistake that when we wrote up the prenup and stuff, there was a mistake on it. And before we turned it in and notarized it, I noticed that it gave me everything. Yeah. And that's not what we were trying to say, you know, in it. So we went back and like fixed it. But I don't know. You know, I don't know in this situation what is going to happen. And I was reading some of the comments in this live chat and before too. And instead of overreacting, do you think that, or being antagonistic at some points, do you think that Melissa and Joe can kind of, do you think it would have been different if they would have approached the situation with Louis and with Teresa differently, as being just more supportive and just, we're here if something happens, as opposed to the way, hey, I know you're shaking your head. I get it.
No, because I think that unfortunately, because right now I'm watching this in my own family, I think that there is this invisible line of like a hierarchy in families of a certain level of like importance and kind of like you have to just, it's not there, it's not in black and white, but it's like you need to understand where you fall in line. And I think that for Teresa and Joe, they both, Teresa looks at it like, it's my show. I started the show. Without me, you'd have nothing. And Joe looks at it like, I am the #1 son. I am in Italian culture, the brother, the one who will take over as the patriarch of the family and oversee you and, you know, like my nieces and my, like all of that. So I think this is another one of those unfortunate moments of a hierarchy when you don't have the true matriarchs and patriarchs of the family sitting there trying to, you know, guide everyone. Now you're trying to step into that role of responsibility as if like I'm the one who now is calling the shots. But when you have two people whose dick is bigger, it's like, then who's calling the shots?
Right.
And I think this is exactly what we see going on here. And then I think for somebody like Joe Gorga, who not only has the ego of celebrity, but then you have the Italian, like the family structure of I was the one who steps in, as if you're like, you're Prince George stepping into now my dad died and I'm king, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So he is stepping in this way. And then you have Teresa, who's a very strong, independent woman who has that very masculine energy with it too, saying, bitch, no, you're not. I'm the one. And dad always said I'm the one. So no, I don't think that there would ever be a resolve, because now you then have this foreign guy who is backing Teresa saying, you need to listen to your sister. And Joe's like, who the fuck are you? And Melissa is saying the same thing. Like, yo, you just got here 2 years ago. And
I have to agree with that. I mean, I do have to agree with that point. It's, you know, you're coming in strong. Louis came in hot. I mean, every photo he looks like he's a bit hot, but you know, he came in very, very strong and very kind of like, this is what you need to do, Teresa. We're not talking to them. Like, I got to protect you. And when you come from that kind of, it's almost maniacal, right? It's like you're coming in, you're saying, I have to protect you from your family. I have to be the one to protect you. Don't you understand? That's like gaslighting.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's
it's awful. Mary Stewart, in honor of Pops and his enjoyment of reality TV. Thank you, Mary Stewart.
Thank you, Mary.
Josie, for Pops and how proud he was of both of you. Also, thank you. Which is so fun. Again, not to make this somber, guys. You guys have been so awesome throughout the whole past week and everything. And he loved nothing more than this freaking community and just saying hi to everybody. And you know, like Pops he was a little bit of like a wild card. You know, like Pops could not just be on YouTube. He wanted to flirt with everybody. Pops was like, you know, he was prom king.
He was prom king.
This was not the court.
King for sure.
This was not the court. Tinsley's opinions. Yes, Travis Tinsley. Happy 18th.
I cannot believe we're already at this point in June. I really can't. Yes, happy Juneteenth, and totally forgot.
No, well, can I say really quick? Yesterday, I was on the phone with my dad, and my dad just got knee surgery. He's about to get a second one. He's getting double knee surgeries, and he's going through it. Like, my dad's a bigger guy too. So, and Travis met my dad in Nashville. But my dad yesterday, I was on the phone with him and I was telling him a lot of things that were going on this weekend with family and Pops. And it was a crazy weekend, right? And as I was checking out at Publix, the guy said to me, he said, okay, well, here's your receipt and happy Father's Day. Guys, I died. I crumbled on the phone with my dad. Yeah. I was already on the phone with him. I had already gone to Starbucks. I was on the phone with him for probably about 20 minutes. And I was like, and Dad said, you forgot. And I was like, I'm an asshole.
It just what happens, Adam. This has been a long week.
Well, no, and he said that too. He said, you know, like this has just been, he's like, it's just been just a terrible week. But, you know, guys, we did also, by the way, we did make up for it. And also it's been a crazy week with Pops and stuff like that. And, you know, like some people would even say to me, like, why would you even admit that on a live? I do want to say that really quick before I catch shit. And some people would be like, why would you even say that you did? Because I'm a fucking human being and there's so much going on and it's okay to miss something. It's just to acknowledge that something was not, it went wrong and it went wrong and I missed it. That's
for
all.
Sure. For sure. But we're not missing Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth, guys.
Happy Juneteenth. Nancy A., Adam and Jason are made for one another. They will be together forever. No doubt about it. Love you guys. Well, that's very sweet.
Yeah, when it takes almost a decade to get married, you know, like we move slow. So
yes. Okay. All right. You don't have to explain, Adam. We know your heart. Thank you, Quentin Dean. We support you guys and appreciate you both. And she didn't want a prenup. That's on her. Okay. I didn't know where you went for Jason or for a second.
Sorry.
All right, Jason, are you ready? I think that we shall move on and hit the last topic.
Oh, what is the last topic?
I'm going to give you a break for a second. I'm going to get you excited.
Okay. All right, get me excited.
Okay. All right. Ready?
Yes, very ready. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Oh, Lord have mercy. We've got the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So, guys, with the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, obviously you can see who we have in the lineup, and there is no, I mean, I don't think we're surprised that there's no Jen Shah, but there is no Jen Shah. This came out from Dorinda Deadly. My question was, and I haven't had time to actually look into this, so I don't want to sit here and pretend like I know something that I don't, because I don't. I think that this was a teaser promo. We're all still wondering what the hell is going on, and if and when we will see Mary Cosby. Now, we know that Mary Cosby filmed a group trip to Palm Springs with the rest of the women, so we will absolutely see her. But now that we know that we're getting a glimpse of her, I think most of us are like, wait, hold on. No, we don't want just a portion of Mary Cosby. Now we want the whole damn thing. You're not going to give us a teaser, like a piece of the cake, and think that we're not coming back with munchies now. We're coming back. So for this promo, sure, does it get me excited? Do I love like the little iridescent lights in the background, like the northern lights? And do I love like the vibes? Sure, I do. Do I hate the fact that there's no Mary Cosby? 1,000,000%. You guys are about to make me book another interview with her parents. I'm getting all pissed off and whatnot.
Okay,
Go ahead,
well, we need to talk to her. I'm more excited for, well, right now there's 3 things that I'm not sure how are going to move forward, or not move forward, but which I'm more excited about. The next season of Salt Lake City, season 2 of Dubai, or season, oh my gosh, like I want to say season 1 of the Real Housewives of New York, like the new Real Housewives of New York. This could be a really good change for Salt Lake City, don't you think?
Well, I mean, if you look at it, let me zoom in here. I think it really rides a lot on, like, we know who the rest of them are, right?
Right.
Like this rides on this, like, this woman who's front and center, who's like really obviously gorgeous. She's stunning. The only way that Salt Lake City can survive is you need that Jen Shah energy. And guys, do not kill me in the live chat about this. Jeez, please.
Energy. We said energy.
Yes. You need the Jen Shah energy of you need somebody who is such a loose cannon, who all of a sudden Heather's like, when I said it to you, you didn't get it. And then they're like, fuck you, Heather. You're saying I'm stupid? And then it's like, oh my God, I never called her stupid. And then it's like flipping the table and just dramatic for no reason. You need the loose cannon, and you need somebody who's going to come on and do it and just be that disaster. We know a few people in our lives who are that disaster without cameras around. They need to find that person who can deliver that doesn't look like they're doing it, and then looking out of the right side of their eye or the left side of their eye and like looking at the camera being like, did you get your shot? Did you get it? You know what I mean? Like, they just have to be a shit show. So I'm hoping this girl cannot come in and be like cookie cutter, like, hi, I'm Molly Mormon and life is great. And I am so happy. And here are my children. Because then we have a bad.
No, because then it's, that's Salt Lake City already. We don't need that. We need to see more. Obviously this is a mock-up, but I think, and someone said it in the live chat earlier, Heather can be a loose cannon. I really think it's like it's in there, and she's had to be very careful on how she navigates certain things. I don't know if we've talked about this on here before, but she has to be very careful legally how she manages some stuff on the show. Yeah. But Heather, according to production, is not the easiest person to work with.
Do you know? So, can we talk about that for a second?
Yes, we can talk about that.
Okay, so real quick, let me say, what was I saying? It takes a lot of strength and courage to admit that you might have made a big mistake. I agree with that. And Nancy A., Adam and Jason, you are made for one another. They will be together forever, no doubt about it. Love you guys. So sweet. Thank you. For poppin', you guys, Louis is bringing dark drama like Lisa did on Beverly Hills. Some shows need to be put on pause like Miami. Lots of love. Thank you. Tinsley's opinions. Love your dad and your mom. When life is crazy, it happens. Just make it up in the big way that we know you will. Love starting my day with you guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you to everybody in the live chat. We appreciate you guys. Okay, so this is a conversation that happened. At this point, it's okay. So
okay,
Jason,
I didn't know if we're allowed because there's some stuff we can't say.
No,
you're just
we can say this one.
Okay.
So Jason and I were on the phone with Jen Shaw, and this was around the time that we were waiting for the interview to come out. It was after we already filmed with her. We were in touch, like, mind you guys, before we did the interview, we were on calls and calls and calls with her attorneys and being fielded and guided through everything. And like, when people were even asking, like, why didn't you ask this question? Fucking trust me. We tried to
also, what kind of
every
answer
question.
would you get if you asked, let's say, okay, so the questions that we did present were kind of to get a background story of how did you get here and why do you think you've done nothing wrong, right?
Right.
That was the real thing. But even if you ask the question, you're not going to get the answer.
No.
You know what I mean? You're just not. You're
you
an
weren't getting
illegal.
it.
Yeah, you weren't getting it.
But then Jen had a meltdown one day and she's like, I don't understand why everybody loves Heather. Production hates her. She's the hardest one to deal with. She's the most difficult. And went on this whole tangent. And Jason and I looked at each other like, Heather's the most difficult? What? And then we asked another person, remember? And they were like,
few people have mentioned this. And
that
also
Heather gets the best at it, that she's the most difficult, which is the same thing Stassi Schroeder said about Tom Sandoval. Just saying.
Wow. Didn't think about that. Because you would think, like looking from the outside, that would be different, that he would be easy to work with. But I guess, narcissists always, I'm not sure. I don't know how that would carry over. But listen, I think just to jump back to this and talking about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, I think that Mary is in a good position to be a friend, and she will be a good friend. I don't know, I'm thinking about some of her nuances and some of the, idiotic things she mentioned. And she said, when it concerned race and other things too, like, it's just like, I think friend is a good spot. Let's test it out. Let's see if we like her here. And let's let these other girls who are coming in as full-time have a moment and see if we can, ramp up for this next season.
Yes. All right. Well, on top of that, guys, speaking of another new season, before we get into the Real Housewives of Orange County, I just wanted to bring up this to you guys. And Jason. Oh, hello. We're filming.
When you don't tell me things like this. Yeah, they have been filming for a minute.
Mm-hmm. Nope, they started filming. They've been filming for a little less than a week. And you know what's so funny to this, Jason? It's another thing that Jason and I, it's like life lessons this week, you guys. It's like when somebody gets a little, unfortunately, like you kind of get a little greedy and things happen and you just get the shit into the stick because you didn't hold out. Well, that's what happened to Jill Zarin. Jill Zarin was so upset because she wanted to be a part of the new RHONY legacy show that was originally set to film like a true RHONY show where it was going to follow them around New York City before they ended up redirecting the show to be an ultimate girls trip style show, filming for only 2 weeks in a new location with the OGs in their mind of the Real Housewives of New York. Obviously, we know that Kristen Taekman is not an OG. But getting back to the original point, Jill Zarin got a little greedy, and her agent did tell us the same thing. She got a little bit greedy, and she wanted everyone to have the same pay. She did not want Dorinda or Ramona or Luann or Sonia, who might have had bigger social media followings, to get higher pay because she feels like she originally started the show. So she was a little bit difficult. They were arguing over contracts. They all had contracts in order to film this new show. And then finally, Bravo, Peacock, NBC said, "You, we're taking the contracts back. Everybody can piss off." Okay, cool. That's where we're at now. Bravo, the network, everybody kind of reconvened. This got out there to Page 6, social media. Everybody started talking about it. And everyone was really disappointed because we were expecting a show. We didn't know what that show was going to look like, but we were expecting one. So then they ended up reconvening and coming up with this legacy version of an ultimate girls trip style show. And they did exactly what Jill Zarin asked for from the jump, which was equal pay. They ended up paying every single one of them $250,000 to film for a week and a half, 10 days of filming, all the exact same money, all the exact same exposure, everything that Jill Zarin asked for. But Jill Zarin, in the moment, got greedy and said, it's either my way or no way. And they said, not only are we taking your way.
She might have got hyped up a little bit at BravoCon, you know? I think she saw how people were reacting to her, like, oh my God, Jill Zarin. And she's like, see, I'm Jill Zarin. And she's sitting there like demanding all of this. And now, you know, you get the Knicks because you're too greedy.
You got too greedy. You got greedy, girl.
It's a deadly sin, friend. It's a deadly sin
for a
reason.
You got greedy. And you know what happens? Unfortunately, when you get greedy and you get like, and you're caught in the greed of it all, then people start looking at you a little bit different. And then you start, your opinion and your words and your point becomes obsolete because it becomes diluted by your own selfish actions of being greedy in the first place. And that's exactly what happened to Jill Zarin. That's what happened. Yep. But now as we go over and pan over really quick, I'm going to cap us off with this because even though Jason and I were out of town, we went to Hilton Head. We had a couple of Zaz. We had some moments about Pops. We had some family time. And also, of course, we got the next episode of The Real Housewives of Orange County, which we always do. And Tamra Judge is a complete fucking shit show, which we love. That is exactly what we wanted. Tamra Judge, can I say really quick, this is probably in some shitty way a spirit animal for me. Because for someone like Tamra to be like, in this moment, she's yelling at Shannon and she's like, you don't understand. I can't talk to you because you're drunk and you're an alcoholic. And Shannon's looking at her like, girl. This is like, did this also just bleed into my weekend?
Yes, this just bled into our weekend as well. Okay. It's what are you thinking, Adam, about the return of Tamra Judge, and what are you thinking about this season so far? Because we're 2 episodes in, right?
Listen, Tamra calling Shannon a liar and a drunk. Shannon saying she's unhinged. It makes me happy that I think last season we felt a little afraid for some of the newbies and the cast members who don't have the same financial backing to be able to say whatever they want. And it might make them a little bit more nervous to put on the show that us as fans would hope for because they don't want to get sued. I think that Tamra comes in and she like breaks that barrier of like, she's kind of coming in like, I'm going to ask for forgiveness later. Like, I don't give a shit. If you sue me at the end of the season, but I'm about to give you a season. She's been sued before. We have to remember by Jim Bellino, Alexis Bellino's ex. She got sued. Her and Shannon both got sued by him for talking shit about his trampoline business on Jeff Lewis, or it was on Heather McDonald's Juicy Scoop podcast, one of them. But they were all talking shit about his business, and she was sued last time, and that lawsuit carried over. So for the fact that she has been sued before, cried in interviews, and now you're still talking shit the same way and like going in and being like, you fucking alcoholic, and you know, and doing the same shit. It's like, Tamra is kind of that person that we need on a show like this who's like, I don't care if Tamra gets sued. I really don't. I don't care if you get sued. I don't care if you have to go spend the next 3 months in court. I do care about how my Wednesday nights are going to pan out with the Real Housewives. Right. I mean, if we're going to have a good time watching it or if it's going to be a shitty episode. Like, that's not on me. I'm not the one putting on a show and getting paid more than $500,000 to put on the show. If you end up getting paid $500,000 and you have to put half of that into legal fees, that's on you, girl. Not my problem.
Let me tell you, we talked about after the first episode, I'm really happy to see, like, I think where we get lost a lot in these housewife shows that have been on for so long is adding new cast members, adding someone like, let's say, a Noella, okay, or a Jen Armstrong. Like, we put too much emphasis on these new people and we expect them to come in with a bang and it just doesn't work. But going back to those nostalgic old relationships, like the one with Shannon and Tamra, with Tamra coming in and just knowing how to carry a conversation on camera. Like I brought up that point in the first episode where it was Heather and Tamra having a conversation and Gina kind of left out because they know how to control that. They need to keep it on them. You know what I mean? And I really, When did Real Housewives of Atlanta and the Real Housewives of Orange County switch places?
I don't know.
Do you remember when no one was watching Orange County?
I know.
And they were so bored. I feel like that's where we are with Atlanta right now. And that's again, Atlanta was my first and my first Housewives show. It was my favorite.
When Cynthia corrected me at dinner that night, and she was like, "Atlanta is the number one in ratings."
The number one in ratings. Yeah, right. Okay, we get it, but not anymore.
Well, it's like when Tom was like, "My house is 2.1 million."
It was 2.095.
Well, it was, girl, before you ended up moving your ass back into the apartment in West Hollywood with the AC in the window. And for Cynthia, it also was, girl, before the ratings went down. And also, they shouldn't have let your ass go because really, honestly, Cynthia, Portia, Nene, and Phaedra should all, and Kim Zolciak, really, they should all be back on the show. They all should.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. Phaedra, she's done her time. I get it. But if they're going to sit there and put her on another show, Married to Medicine, and put her on Ultimate Girls Trip twice,
right? At
this point, let her just be back on the show.
We can move on. But what I'm saying, though, is I have hope for OC. I don't know how anybody in the live chat feels, but OC, it feels like there's something back that makes me want to watch it. I don't know if that's necessarily Tamra, or putting Tamra there makes the others more capable. I do like the new Jen, the not Jen Armstrong new Jen. I like her. I can see this going pretty well. I'm a little underwhelmed with Taylor Armstrong's kind of entrance as a friend. I was like, oh, okay, there you are. But yeah, it's overall, I think it's going to be a good season, and we have stuff to talk about. We'll have to do an after party for it for sure.
All right, guys. Well, we'll be doing an after party this week. All right, guys. Well, on top of that, real quick before we end up going, again, thank you everyone so much for just being so sweet and understanding, and all of the kind words, the DMs, and everything regarding Pops. That's been amazing. 2, normally we do our members only. Today, Jason and I had a conversation this morning thinking that maybe we'll do that at some point later in the week, and then we'll keep that posted on the community tab, just because there's still things that are happening like on the outside that we're trying to deal with. But we'll keep you guys posted and even have that honest conversation in the members only. But with that, we also we're back for Anchor Watch this week, right?
Yep.
Anchor Watch
tomorrow
this
night.
week.
And there's a back-to-back episode, 2 new episodes tonight.
2 new episodes tonight.
2 of Below Deck Sailing, yeah.
There's no New Jersey tomorrow, so we have no after party tomorrow. It's just going to be Anchor Watch, so save all of your energy. Go over there. If you haven't smashed the like button over here, smash the like button. Thank you to everyone for the super chats, super stickers, and your condolences. We love you guys. Jason, do you want to sign us off and say anything?
Just have a good week, everyone. We'll see you soon.